Last week, it was announced that Canadian Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was the MVP for the 2025-26 season. But what made bigger news than the actual announcement was how we found out that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had won back-to-back MVPs, because there was a bit of controversy. So Amazon Prime was, I don't know, they were granted the ability to announce the winner of the MVP. It was supposed to be this special thing happening during the pregame. So it was supposed to be on Amazon Prime at 7:30 p.m. They were going to announce who won MVP, and then they were going to have an interview with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander at that time. That was like pre-recorded. However, at 9:50 a.m. that morning, Shams decided that he was going to tweet out the winner, basically ruining Amazon Prime's big plans for the evening. And so this raised a lot of discussion around basically, was it fair game for Shams as a reporter, as a journalist, to leak this information because he came to have this information. It's his job to report it. So it was totally fine for him to report it at 9:50 a.m. Or was he in the wrong for doing that because it was clearly planned that Amazon Prime was going to be announcing this? And should maybe the NBA consider putting maybe some sort of restrictions, embargo on certain information that can't be leaked so that Shams can't do what he did last Sunday? Where you guys land on this topic?
Well, when I first heard of this, I did think, damn, like gone are the days where you would wait and you wouldn't find out until the day before or a couple days before. Then the MVP would be announced, and then he'd go up in front of the fans and it'd be a big deal and all that stuff. Those days are gone now. As we know, the social media era is gone. So Shams does not work for Prime. He works for ESPN. So what's it to him what Prime thinks? Right? ESPN is the one signing his checks. ESPN pays him a ton of money to break stories. So he goes to bed, he gets up, all he's thinking about is breaking a story. So I don't think he's wrong. I think he's doing his job. I think if there's an issue, players have an issue, because I know Blake Griffin was made some comments and stuff like that. Um, I think it's something the NBA needs to do. The NBA has basically two partners, Prime and ESPN, and now they are now in conflict with each other. So the NBA is the daddy here, and the NBA needs to step in and try to figure out a solution. But in terms of Shams, no, Shams was in the right for definitely tweeting I know.
This is funny because this is the first that I'm learning of this. I didn't even know that this was a thing. So the day that it was announced that Shea was the MVP, I just saw the notification on my phone that, SGA back-to-back MVP, whatever. So I'm thinking, I had no idea that this was a thing for Prime, or this was a prime time event that Prime was going to show, and that Shams stole their thunder, no pun intended. I didn't know that. So I'm actually just learning this in real time, which is funny to me. But I agree with what Emmanuel's saying, that Shams, he works for ESPN. ESPN is paying him a lot of money to be a newsbreaker. So he did what he's supposed to do according to what his employer wants him to do. Because him tweeting that at 9 a.m., I think you said, that allows all of ESPN's programming that day to talk about. Right? So from Get Up in the morning to First Take to whatever they show in the afternoon, Pat McAfee and so on and so forth, they can all talk about it all day while they're on Prime, because Prime has to wait until their broadcast starts in the evening, and by then it's like, oh yeah, we know already, right? We've been hearing about this all day. So if I'm Prime, I'm pissed off, obviously, because the NBA got like $11 billion in their last TV deal from Prime, from Disney, aka ESPN, and from NBC. So if I'm Prime and I'm paying you billions and I have something exclusive, then allow me to keep it exclusive. right? So I agree with what Emmanuel said. Like the NBA would be on Adam Silver NBA. They would have to step in and say, okay, if any of the broadcast partners have something that's supposed to be a primetime exclusive announcement, then if you have that info, don't send it out because I think they even did that. They did that for the draft a few years ago, right? Like remember it got to the point where when Woj was still working, that before each pick, Woj already tweeted who was going to be. So the whole surprise element disappeared and they stopped that.
Yeah,
So now,
yeah,
I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, now they can't do that anymore. So now Shams or whoever tweets after the fact. They can't spoil it. So the NBA clearly can do this. So I think they would have to do that in this instance because if the shoe was on the other foot and some newsbreaker was working for Prime and ESPN had some sort of exclusive deal, ESPN would be just as upset as Prime. I'm sure of it. So
Yeah, well, that's what people were saying, like that if it was ESPN that were given the rights to announce this thing at 7:30, people were like, would Sham still have broke it at 9:50 a.m. when he found out?
no
Or
way.
or would he
no,
have kept his mouth shut because those
No
absolutely
people
way.
were
not.
paying his bills? Because
But that's just out. Yeah.
you, to your point, he hopped on to shows in the morning. And we know how Amazon Prime is. I don't think Amazon Prime operates like that, where they have like shows, like sports
No.
throughout the hours, right? It was when
No.
pregame started, that's when the Amazon Prime show started. So Amazon has all these hours where they can't say anything. Meanwhile, Shams is going from interview to interview, talking about the
Yeah.
news. And like if you're
Yeah.
Amazon, that probably lowered your viewership because now people know who won, so they don't need to tune in at 7:30. So like how many clicks did they miss out on? How much money did they miss out on because people didn't view it? So like I can see Amazon Prime being like, no, the NBA needs to step in and do something about this
Yeah.
because it
For
did
sure.
ruin the experience. And I saw a lot of fans actually get annoyed. And yeah, Blake Griffin made the comment. He said it's Sunday, go to brunch.
What did Blake Griffin say?
Yeah, what are we doing, man? Like, it's Sunday, Shams. Go to brunch, you nerd. Come on.
He said that. He said it's Sunday. Go to brunch, man. Like, why are you?
Yeah, basically saying he's a nerd. Like, come on,
Yeah, he
relax,
said you
enjoy your
nerd. Yeah, he
day.
said you
You
nerd. Like,
know,
why
he
do
didn't, he
you?
didn't think that was funny because he was on an interview NBA Today, I think, with Malika Andrews, and she brought that up, and he was just like
Yeah, his face was like,
stone cold. He didn't smile. He didn't do nothing. Like, nah, I didn't think that's funny. Like, so
That's an unfair shot to Shams, right? Because he's doing his job. Shams
yeah,
doing his job. Like that's what he's paid to do. So I don't the whole, go to brunch or find something else to do. I feel like you should be sending those shots to ESPN or to Disney. You shouldn't be sending it to Shams. Shams is doing what he's told. It's like I don't. If Shams didn't do that, he wouldn't have that. I don't.
at the end of the day, this is again, it's the NBA. It's a good problem to have. It's two partners, both of them pay billions of dollars that have the rights to show your product, and they're basically quarreling. And I'm sure the NBA will figure out because the NBA is always good at coming up with new things to promote the game and to push the game and stuff like that, and getting the a lot of their games on streaming services now. I know a lot of people have been complaining about that, but that's a new idea, a new way of the future. Kind of like when they were doing the in-season tournament. That was something new for the future.
So that's a good point that you make because speaking of the NBA, the in-season tournament, NBA Cup, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was actually looking back at like the numbers in terms of who made the NBA Cup finals for the last 3 years. We've had it now for 3 years. When it first came in, it was like, oh, why are we doing this? This is not really a North American sports league type of thing to have an in-season tournament. Why do we need it? Obviously, we know it was because people weren't taking the regular season seriously, so there needed to be games that mattered, right? So Adam Silver comes up with this idea. I like the idea from the beginning, but a lot of people didn't, and people said it was a gimmick, right? And some people said, well, okay, if you win the NBA Cup, like, so what? What does that? What does that mean? That nobody's going to hold the NBA Cup winner at the same level as an NBA champion. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But anyway, I decided to just look back since it's been 3 years to see who made the NBA Cup final games for each of the last 3 years. And what did they end up doing in the playoffs? So I had to put it on my phone because I wouldn't remember this. So in 2023,
Right.
first year, NBA Cup final was the Lakers versus Indiana. Lakers win the Cup, right? The inaugural year. That year in the playoffs, both Indiana and the Lakers ended up going to the conference finals. So I don't know if people remember that, but they both ended up conference finals. Now, they lost there. That's where it stopped. But they made it to the final four, basically, of the playoffs, right? That's pretty good. Now, we fast forward to 2024. 2024 was the Milwaukee Bucks beat OKC in the final. So fast forward to the playoffs. The Bucks ended up losing in the first round to Halliburton and the Pacers, right? And then the Pacers, they obviously went all the way to Game 7 of the finals last year. And then obviously OKC, who the Bucks played and beat in the Cup final. OKC is the one who actually won it all. And then this season, now we got the Knicks beat the Spurs in the Cup final, and now we already have the Knicks waiting for either the Spurs or OKC in the NBA Finals this year. So what that says to me is that okay, maybe you consider this tournament to be a gimmick or whatever, but actually, if you look at it, the NBA Cup 3 years in has been a pretty good indicator of how good your team is. If you are making it to the NBA Cup final game, if you're then there's a good chance, I would say, that you're going to be making it deep into the playoffs. I feel like it means something. I don't know if you guys agree that it means something, or am I biased because I like the NBA Cup idea from the very beginning, and this is all a coincidence? Like, what are you thinking?
I've always been a fan of the NBA Cup from the beginning. I've always thought, this is a good idea because we've seen the issue, of players not competing, not playing hard, not just players, teams, organizations, sitting players out, having them rest and take games off, load management, the whole thing. So I've seen it. So the NBA had to do something. And whenever you do something new, there will be people that will criticize it, people that don't like change, and they just can't, they're not visionaries. So they're stuck in the moment of the time. So there always going to be criticism, but I always thought the intention behind it was good. And the NBA, again, always trying new things because the intention behind it was good. If it didn't work, guess what? They could just stop it. But as the data is showing and what you're laying out here is that it does mean something. It does work. I remember when the Lakers won their first championship and they put up the banner and then people were making fun of them. Like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. And why? It means something. And I think as time goes on, because they were the first one, people try to mock it, and also because it's the Lakers, it's LeBron, easy target. But as time goes on, people will start to respect them more when it's 10 years in, 15 years in. This will be something because if your data continues, it will show that the teams that perform well in the NBA Cup, this midseason tournament, perform well throughout the season and then ultimately go pretty far. So if that's your end goal, why not follow the path of those teams? So it only makes sense that you come up from the beginning, you focus, you work hard, you aim to win the NBA Cup, but then win the NBA championship. Why not sweep it all like the Knicks are trying to do this year? So that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care for the NBA Cup. I didn't when it was originally announced. I still feel the same. The data does show from like a viewership standpoint that the numbers were up this year. It says there's up 3% in the NBA Cup final this year. I mean, that's obviously good from like a Adam Silver standpoint. But personally for me, yeah, I don't care for it because the games are still count towards the regular season. Like it's not like it's separate with like different rules or like anything like that. It's still regular NBA regular season games. They just count it towards the cup. And so it doesn't feel it doesn't feel special enough as a soccer fan in England, the FA Cup what makes it special is not because it's just the English Premier League teams that are playing each other, who they're already playing each other week in, week out. What makes the FA Cup special is you got teams from lower divisions that are also able to play. And then you get those Cinderella stories where teams from the lower divisions end up going to the finals. That's what makes it more interesting. But it's the same NBA teams we already see playing each other every week. They're just playing each other again in NBA Cup. So that's why it's never been that interesting to me. In terms of the data, I mean, no offense, but yeah, the good teams that made it the finals happen to do good in the NBA Cup. Like, I don't think it's predicting one thing. I think we're just seeing if you're a good team, then you most likely will do good in the NBA Cup, and you most likely will do good in the playoffs. Like, I think that's what it's showing us. I don't think it's saying like if you somehow can work really hard to win the NBA Cup, that's going to make you do well in the playoffs. I think if you're a good team, you'll just do well in both. And so I think that's what we're seeing here. I think that's what the data is saying. I don't think it's predictive of anything, but I respect that you guys think that differently,
I mean,
but I
that's a
don't
good
think
point.
that says anything.
That's a good point because I did consider that too. I'm like, the good team, they're good teams. That's why they're winning the NBA Cup, and that's why they're getting to the final. I did consider that as well. But
But okay, go ahead.
how much of a fan of the NBA regular season are you? I think that's the question.
The question to determine what.
To determine how likely you are to find the NBA in season tournament a good thing. Because if you don't really care about the regular season already, then the in season tournament might not be something that's a big deal to you. But if you watch regular season games, not every game, but you watch regular season games throughout the year to get you through a long winter here in Toronto, you want these guys trying. You want these guys going hard. God forbid you get tickets to go to the game. I get given tickets a couple times a year. I go to the game, and if they're not playing hard or guys are hurt, so no, it's a disappointment. I said, given tickets. What if you paid for them? Excuse me. Right. So I think for those people that care about the regular season, the end season tournament has been amazing for them. Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, I agree. And then also just to slightly push back on your point about good teams are going to play well, so it doesn't really mean much. But that's true. However, there's more than just, two or four good teams, right? Like once you make it to the conference finals, we're talking about the final four of the entire league. But this is a 30-team league, right? So you could be a good team and lose in the second round. You could be a good team. Something happens, you lose in the first round. So the fact that these teams that are making the Cup finals are getting to the conference finals or the NBA finals, to me, means more than just, hey, good teams play well. Big deal. Like it's like to me, it's like if there were teams that were losing in the first round, second round, stuff like that. Okay, but OKC, I mean, they won it all. They were in the Cup final, they won it all. Lakers win the whole thing, go to the conference finals. Like to me, I just feel like, and then you got Indiana, who nobody was expecting, and then all of a sudden they're in the conference finals, and then the very next year they're in Game 7 of the NBA finals. So I feel like it's it's a window into okay, who's actually on top? Because normally prior to the NBA Cup, like you said, the regular season it's long, and you have no idea. You could see okay who's doing well in the standings, but at the end of the day, you don't really know who's going to be left standing in the playoffs. But I feel like with this now, we can use this as like, and as a fan, you should want your team and your players to care about the NBA Cup because if you guys can make it with these one win game samples and advance, then that bodes well for your chances in the playoffs. You mentioned like teams from lower divisions. So should they have so would you be more interested if teams from the G League could be involved in playing in the in season tournament? Like would that make it more interesting?
Yeah,
Would
that would
you
make it more
care more?
interesting. Would you
But those
not
teams
think
would
it'd
get
be
killed.
Raptors 905? The Raptors 905
They
playing
would get
OKC.
killed,
I
Abby.
know, no, I wouldn't, they wouldn't be, it probably wouldn't be that good competition wise, but it would be more
Barbecue
interesting.
chicken.
it'd be more interesting. I'm not necessarily saying the games would be good, but it would be more interesting than
Yeah.
seeing the same teams play week in, week out, playing in a cup. I think the whole predictive thing, like, I think it's a good indicator and it's probably valuable as a fan of like, okay, if my team did well in the NBA Cup, maybe that's a good sign that they're going to do well in the playoffs. And then if you're a coach, maybe you'll think the same way. But I
Yeah.
think, but I think like from the standpoint of that's why the NBA Cup needs to stay. I think if you got rid of the NBA Cup, teams that are good at the midway point of the season, whenever the NBA Cup final would happen, I think teams that are good at that point in the year, they probably are still going to go on to be really good in the playoffs. Like I don't think the NBA Cup specifically is doing anything to help teams get to the playoffs. I think it's still just an indicator that you're a good team that can win under pressure and win in different environments. And if you can do well in the midseason cup, then it's a good sign that you could probably do well in the playoffs. I think anything that can show that there's more people watching is a positive. And there are people who clearly enjoy it, like the two of you. And I'm sure Knicks fans who won the most recent NBA Cup are
Yeah.
probably
Oh
also
yeah.
fans of maybe this tournament and fans of how the team is doing in the playoffs. So why don't we talk about how the Knicks are doing?
Man, those damn Knicks, man. These Knicks have been so impressive. So impressive. As a Raptor fan, we don't have no rivalry, no hatred or anything for the Knicks or anything like that. We even sent them OG, here, take them. But they've been so good. They've definitely outplayed my expectations of them going into the season. I knew they were going to be, top 14, good team. And even when the playoffs started, like many people, I had Boston going to the conference finals and then going to the NBA finals. I didn't have the Knicks getting past Detroit, if they did. So I was wrong on that. But part of that is because my whole life the Knicks have been the Knicks, right? Like they were good earlier on with the Patrick Ewing teams, but other than that, they've been the Knicks. They got to the final with Sprewell and LJ and those guys, Allen Houston, but they've been the Knicks in between there. Meaning, I compare them a lot to the Toronto Maple Leafs in this town. Uh, Basketball, crazy town, the Mecca, as they say. Very informative fans, know about the game. Owner that's rich, spends a ton of money. You can't ever accuse James Dolan of not trying to win and not spending money. But yet they can't win. And they haven't won. And they haven't had a chance of winning. So it's due. It's definitely due for them. And I think the way the season went, the way um, Mike Brown has come in there and changed the offense. When Thibodeau got let go, a lot of people were complaining about, oh no, what are they going to do now? But Mike Brown has come in and elevated them to another level. They get into the finals, which is around further than they got before. The offense looks unbelievable. They've won what 10, 11 straight by historical numbers. And Jalen Brunson looks like he's about to go down as the GOAT of New York City. So the Knicks have been extremely impressive. Extremely.
Yeah, I have to agree 100% with everything that you said. Like starting off, they definitely overachieved. I mean, I don't even know if they've overachieved. Maybe this is just who they are. But from what I thought they were, they've definitely overachieved. I mean, we had a very popular episode last year where we talked more, we said, who would you rather be? Would you rather be, but no, I think we said, who would you rather be in 5 years, right? Would you rather be the Raptors or would you rather be the Knicks? And I think we all said the Raptors. And 5 years from now, I feel like I still feel that way. But I mean, right now, the Knicks be, I definitely would not have envisioned the Knicks making the finals. And Jalen Brunson being this superstar, right? Like, and man, you said it before the show that he was a second round pick. I forgot that he was even drafted in the second round. So him and Jokic basically are like the greatest second round picks of all time. This is Jalen Brunson. This guy was on Dallas and playing alongside Luca, and it was just okay, whatever. And I remember when he was a free agent, and all the talk about the Knicks are focusing and targeting Jalen Brunson, and it's like, okay, I mean, he's a nice player, but he's going to be your guy? He's going to be your main man for what? And now it shows like they were right. They knew something apparently, or maybe they got lucky. I don't know. But he's been incredible. That team is incredible. Him, Towns, OG, Josh Hart, like they just have a deep, loaded team, way more loaded than I expected. And to be honest with you, it's been like a lot of people are saying, okay, well, the Knicks have been great. They went through the East, but whoever makes it from the West, either Spurs or OKC, are gonna win. And at this point, maybe, but I'm not too sure because now the Knicks seem like no matter who they face, they've been able to adapt. And Jalen Brunson, he's not a big guy. He's not particularly athletic. He's not particularly fast. He doesn't jump high, but yet he's unstoppable. They cannot stop this guy. Nobody can stop
So
Jalen Brunson. And we knew in Toronto we didn't want the Knicks. We said, please do not give us the Knicks. They will sweep us, right? And we were right because we got Cleveland. We pushed Cleveland to 7. Cleveland ends up facing the Knicks. They got swept handily. The same Cleveland who took the 1 seed Detroit Pistons to 7 got swept handily by the Knicks. So what actually, in hindsight, makes me feel better about the Raptors getting killed by these guys because they're doing it to everybody. This is just who they are. They are a juggernaut buzzsaw of a team, and it's like you can always. It's always interesting when you see teams sort of capture something in a particular year, like the Raptors did in 2019 with Kawhi. Like no matter what you throw at them, they were just gonna find a way to get it done, and it's feeling like that with the Knicks. It's I don't know. To me, it's feeling like it's their year. To me,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't think it's set
they're
in
feeling they're
stone.
feeling. Go ahead.
I don't think it's set in stone that whoever comes out of the West is guaranteed to beat the Knicks because the Knicks have just shown this postseason that they can rise above any sort of adversity and get through it. Like I think the Hawks probably gave him the toughest challenge.
yeah. In the
And
first round, yeah,
in the first round, and even still, those games that the Hawks won was like 1 point, 2 points. And then the games that the Knicks won were like blowouts. And then after that, I
I
think they
think
kind
they
of
lost
figured
game
out.
four, but they lose game 6 for like 60,
Like,
50,
yeah, it was
60 points.
yeah. And it seems like that was the switch for them. Like they needed those two rough games against Atlanta, and then they've kind of turned it on. And yeah, as Raptors fans, we knew we did not want the Knicks because we knew how good they are. They've just built the right team. Like they have the right pieces. Obviously, we know they had RJ, they had Quickly. It just didn't work. They had Brunson, who was clearly really good, and then they had Randall making the move to get Cat and then making the move to get OG. It's just the right pieces. They got Hart. It just makes sense. And they work hard. They came back against the Cavs again, showing they can get through adversity. And so I feel like for that reason, even if they get to the final, are they in the finals already? Even if they
Yep.
get there, they're in the finals even if it starts tough, I don't think like I don't think they're out. Like I feel like even if they lose game one, they lose big or whatever, I still think that they have it in them to fight back. Like I can't see them getting swept to whoever they play um,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
finals.
They've been playing such a good brand of basketball. They got New York City crazy. They got their fans crazy. Their fans are traveling to every single game. I mean, New York fans are known to already do that, but
Yeah.
they're going into Philadelphia. Like I don't know if you saw that Sixers series. They went into Philadelphia and they took over the place. It was like a road game for the Sixers. And Embiid was getting booed. Maxey was getting booed. Last night in Cleveland, they did the exact same thing. Went in there, took it over, acting like Raptor fans. Many people don't know Raptor fans do this. We do this regularly. We travel to New York City, take over New York. We've traveled to Detroit and taken over Detroit, and obviously we did it in Golden State. But the Knicks are doing it, and discussion, especially in Philly, was this is embarrassing. We're just supposed to be a sports town. And how are you letting New York come in, New York fans come in and take over? And the fans the New York fans are being able to take over the arenas because the Philly fans, the Cleveland fans are selling their tickets. So my question is, as a diehard sports fan, as a Raptor fan, a J fan, Tampa fan, whatever you are, how much more would somebody have to pay you on your ticket for a key game? Let's say it's like a key game five, a 2-2 series is back home. You know, your home team needs all the support they could get, and somebody's offering to pay you 3 times the amount you paid for it. You gonna sell those tickets?
I mean, I can't look. I'm not gonna lie to you. My tickets are for sale. I'm not. My tickets are for sale. If I'm, especially if we're talking about the second round, because the Philly series was the second round. If it was conference finals, like I would say, each round you progress to, it's going to be harder. You're going to have to offer me more and more in order for me to be willing to part with my tickets. If I'm a single ticket game owner, then it's going to be tough too because I don't have season tickets. So if this is my only game, then it's going to have to be a really, really good offer in order for me to sell those tickets. Or, or something has happened to the team and I feel like we have no chance at this point. So let me just go ahead and sell these tickets and get some money. But if I still believe in the team and it's like the NBA finals, I'm not a season ticket holder. I'm not going to sell it. But if I was a season ticket holder and it's like, okay, I can sell game one because I know I have tickets for game two or vice versa. Right. So I don't think that makes you a bad fan. Right. Now, obviously it looked bad in Philly and it looked bad in Cleveland because half the arena or so has been taken over and invaded. But as an individual, I don't think you're a bad fan if you say, okay, I got these tickets for $200 and somebody's offering me 800. I don't think you're a bad fan for taking the $800.
Yeah, I'd sell my ticket in a heartbeat. Especially in Toronto and probably a city like New York. You know how fun it could be to go to a bar and watch it or go to a viewing party in the streets and
Yeah,
watch it? Like
with
you
an
could
extra
still
800 in your pocket.
exactly. You
Yeah,
could
as an
still
actual
have a
fans.
really you could still have a really great experience not
Yeah.
sitting in the stadium and you've got three times you got $800. You paid 200, you got 800. I mean, yeah, I would sell it in a heartbeat. However, I do think that teams should maybe look into that because not to bring up soccer again, but they do that in soccer where they restrict the number of away tickets. And so they'll say we've released a block of like 500 tickets for away fans. The rest of the stadium, 60,000 seat stadium, the rest of the stadium, you can't. You can buy it if you're another team, but you can't sit. You can't sit like you got to sit in a certain section. They restrict it. It's not
What?
unlimited
You
How do you
have to
open.
police
sit
that?
in another. I don't understand. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
because basically there's a in soccer you have your home, you have like the home section and you have an away section where they all sit together. And so they usually release like a block of tickets. So it'll be like 500 seats all together so that they're all sitting together and not peppered. It's not like other types of sports where you could be a Raptors fan, you're sitting next to a Boston Celtics fan. It's not like that. They try to group
There's a
everyone together.
fight. They'll fight in soccer. That's why. They'll start
So
drinking
Yeah,
and
how do
exactly.
everything.
Because the
they
hooligans and all of that
So,
type of stuff.
so when you're buying the ticket, are they asking you who you're rooting for? Like how do they know
Yeah,
what
like
seat you're gonna get
yeah.
in
I
the
mean,
section? I
usually
don't
you can
understand.
try because a lot of people, when you go to the games, you want to sit with the people who are cheering. So you will go through usually you got to go through the right channel. So you go through your home team or the team you support. That's where you buy your ticket from. So then you can make sure you sit in the right section. And they usually just limit
Interesting.
it for the reasons that we're talking about. So you don't have a situation like the Sixers arena where the Knicks are taking over. So like I think for me personally, for money reasons, I would sell my ticket. But I think that there's valid reasons for the team to want to maybe limit how many, I don't know, find a way. I don't know. It's hard to control it if it's a person selling their own
I
tickets, but
mean, the
yeah.
team, how serious is the team? The team wants to make money. So they put out these little things. Because I know in Philadelphia, they were making the organization made a statement basically saying that begging, imploring the fans not to sell their tickets. And I think Embiid did too after they beat Boston. Said, the last time we played, it felt like a road game, because the fans are selling their tickets, right? So, but it didn't work. because those New York fans, man, they're hungry, and there's a lot of them, and they got money to spend.